Hey guys, really quick before this part starts, welcome to part two of the Bristol Dirt episode. So, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, I hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel or give us a follow on Spotify. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. Hope you guys enjoy.
Penalties are just getting very, I don't know, but this new generation penalties are kind of getting a little bit complicated, just how they're doing it, and they're being a lot more liberal with suspensions in general, and it's just weird. And for me, I follow NASCAR, but it's just hard to keep track of the penalties.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a difficult process, and especially with what we saw this week. Last week with all the appeals panel changes and the NASCAR changing how the appeals work. It's extremely unprofessional, and that's just kind of my view take on everything that's gone down. Is there has to be a consistency, and last week was very unprofessional. But yeah, it feels like we're handing out penalties left and right here. And as I mentioned a couple weeks ago, when we were talking about whether or not, the Hendrick appeal should go through, it, there's just so much riding on. Like, you don't want to be 25, 26 weeks into the season, 30 weeks into the season, still talking about a penalty from Richmond in the spring race. That race as a whole doesn't matter as much, except for the fact that they lost more points than they could have earned that day. So I'm not a big fan of a lot of the penalties. I'm not a big fan of the way the appeal system works. Jacob got to hear an earful out of it with me last week about my complaints about the
Yeah, it was
system.
it was ugly.
Like,
Um,
what is this, F1?
ooh, ouch.
I
No, and
mean,
that's
F1
ye-
has penalties a few races. A couple of races ago, F1 handed penalties like it's Oprah handing out cars.
yeah. I just I'm just embarrassed right now, and like I said to Mason, I'm like, NASCAR is just trying to make this stuff up at this rate. Um, it's just insane to think about that this is what the top level of motorsports in America is doing right now.
Like I said, they're just sitting there with their Budweisers coming up with this stuff. 12 o'clock at night, sitting there with their
uh,
Budweiser.
Probably with some Waffle House.
Yeah, might have had a couple too many Budweisers in there.
Hey, if you know me, I enjoy some Waffle House. I'll have a good time at Waffle House.
Waffle
Anyway,
House is good.
dude, just look at Noah Gregson's Twitter. He
Let's
has a
not
good
talk about
time.
food too much, though. I'm hungry over here. I did not eat lunch before the showing. That's what I
That
do
was
after.
that was a bold move, my friend.
A disclaimer: we are not sponsored by Waffle House.
Yeah, we'll
It would
say
be
that for legal
cool.
reasons. It'll be awesome. If anyone from Waffle House is listening, give
We'll
us
take a
a shout out.
sponsorship.
We'll take it. But will it ever happen? Probably not. um, yeah. So we were talking about penalties, and this is breaking news from 1 o'clock this afternoon. Cody Ware. He has been indefinitely suspended by NASCAR. Ware was arrested in, I don't even know how to say this county, and I live in North Carolina. Iredell County, North
Yeah,
Carolina,
it's
Monday
Iredale.
morning on charges of assault on a female and assault by strangulation. Something you obviously cannot do. Uh,
Yeah.
That's
just
unacceptable.
it's yeah, and
And I think NASCAR is doing the right thing with
yep,
suspending them indefinitely too, because that's just completely unacceptable. And that's
yeah,
just,
and
I feel like putting it very kindly.
right, and like you said, it's just something no one can do. no
Like,
matter who you are.
didn't we talk about off air too that the families had some history in the past?
Yes, I believe so. It's just,
Ay, ay, ay.
yeah. I just hate this. I just hate to have something like this because you'll see it on CNN and you'll see NASCAR driver arrested on assault charges, and that'll be the look for the sport for the next couple of weeks. And I don't like that whatsoever.
Mm. Yeah, that's terrible for him, and it's really awful for the victim. Which sending good vibes to the victim out there,
Yes,
Absolutely.
and
yes.
it's I don't know what is a good way of saying it.
There, there's just no good way of saying it. It's just something stupid you cannot do. Just
Yeah,
period.
Be better humans.
Be better humans.
don't be
Um,
jerks.
yeah, it's 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 not difficult to not be a jerk.
It's free usually.
It yeah, I've got a bumper sticker on my car that says "Good vibes only." So,
Facts.
yeah, just be a good person. That's the message we're gonna say for this episode. Um, so
I'm
yeah,
gonna
Cody wears
sending out good messages and good vibes and everything.
yeah. So moral of the story: Cody Ware's been indefinitely suspended by NASCAR. I don't think he'll ever race again,
Nope.
um, which is the right move. Um, but it's just obviously, like I said, not a good look for the sport. Period.
No, it's not. And that's exactly why they suspended him right away.
Yep, and
I
that
think they
was
did the right thing
yep,
too.
that was the right call.
Absolutely.
And let's try to move on to something a little more positive. Let's not get too down into the dumps right now. Let's talk about something that everyone, well, or at least everyone that I know, likes to do in their pastime. Video games.
Woo!
Love it. So we've been wanting to talk about this for a couple of weeks now. Motorsports video games have been a hot topic amongst NASCAR fans for years. We saw the beautiful, just highly praised video game that is known as NASCAR 21 Ignition.
Oh, yeah.
Chef's kiss. It's just flawless game, right, guys?
What a fantastic piece of hardware that game is, man.
It's a masterpiece. It goes up there with Mass Effect.
Mass Effect.
Disclaimer: I really do love Mass Effect.
And second disclaimer: all these, all that we're saying about NASCAR 21 is a lie. NASCAR 21 is not good. If it says anything about how bad NASCAR 21 is, I bought it on Steam on release day, played it for an hour, and immediately asked for a refund.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still a NASCAR Heat 5 player if I'm going to play like a console NASCAR
Yep.
game. I've been playing NASCAR Heat 5 on the Xbox for a long time. The community super awesome. I love racing with them. There's a lot of online leagues and stuff, but I'll hop on at 1 a.m. and just have fun racing. I've always enjoyed Heat 5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about NASCAR Heat. It is what it is, and there's nothing like it's a fun game, and that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
It has its
Yeah.
problems, sure, but it's a fun game, and you play games to have fun. I currently still play NASCAR Heat 4 on occasion, and yeah, I still have fun with it. So there's nothing wrong with the Heat games, but things were always seemed a little missing with NASCAR Heat.
Sure.
I don't know
Yeah,
what it
and
was, but it was just off.
yeah, and if you want to ask my opinion, I thought that Heat 5 was the best out of the Heat games.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
just because there's so much progress have been made throughout the years of the Heat days, and it was the most updated series. What I'm trying to say is the most updated game up until NASCAR 21. But it was just it wasn't fantastic. It was good, but it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't fantastic. It was nothing NASCAR Thunder. It
Yeah.
was nothing like NASCAR Thunder. Um, so I do want to ask you guys a little something. What is your favorite racing game? And it doesn't have to be NASCAR related. It can just be anything motorsports related. But so my favorite personal racing game, it's just so weird. Probably just because of childhood nostalgia. NASCAR Inside Line. I actually really enjoyed Inside Line, and I don't know why. It's like I said, it's probably just full of nostalgia for me.
I thought NASCAR Inside Line was good. I don't blame you for liking it. It was one of my favorite games as a kid. For me, I show a lot of love to NASCAR '07. That was the game that really harnessed a lot of like. It's what showed me a lot of NASCAR. It's why I know names like Jeff Green from back then and stuff. It taught me a lot of names, and for somebody who was really young, I used to have so much fun playing that game. But also, NR 2003. I've mentioned it before. That game has done a lot for me as far as just when I was growing up. At the time I was 10, 11, 12 years old, I got into the NR 2003 community on YouTube, that they do a lot of different series on there. They're like offline racing series that I always thought were entertaining. And I was very involved in that for 5 to 6 years. And that I still am slightly involved in those communities. I pop up every now and then. And it's cool just to see how long of a lifespan that game has had. It's cool to see the new mods that they add to it and everything. So for me, I mean, NR 2003 has so many memories built into it from the time I was 10 till now when I'm 21, going to be 22 in a month. It's just created a lot of memories for me with that community and the amazing people that I've gotten to meet over the years. And, I'm very thankful for the fact that that game exists because it's brought a lot of good in my life.
Now, talking about NASCAR, I got a couple of stories about that. My very first NASCAR game was NASCAR Racing 2, and I believe that was either the 96 season or the 98 season. And I played that game every now and again, and that was a really good game, especially for the 90s when everything was, the graphics weren't 3D and all, although
Right.
that was 3D, I believe, but it's been a while since I played it. And then NASCAR Racing 4, which it was a 2001 season, and I really enjoyed that one. And the great thing about the NASCAR racing games, the physics. I love the physics and the damage model. To this day, they're still the best I've seen in racing games. And it's like, I never played NASCAR 2003, but I've seen it is very similar to NASCAR Racing 4 because it's made by the same people, just pretty much an update. But
Right. It's an updated version and it just allows more of those mods
Yeah.
yeah,
because they
but
have the next gen in that game, NR
yeah, I've
2003.
seen, which that's pretty impressive. Then the game these days I probably play most of is Assetto Corsa, which because of the mods and you there's every mod out there that you can think of. Like the most obscure car out there there's a mod for it. Like I downloaded a DeLorean,
That's awesome.
and then it has mods for the most obscure tracks, like uh, North Carolina Raceway, I think it's called, and it's like one of the only road course tracks in the Carolina, true road course tracks in that area, and that's about as obscure as you can get. And then there's like Honolulu Speedway, which was a racetrack in Hawaii, and just so many obscure things. And that's how I play IndyCar racing too. I downloaded an IndyCar mod, and that's just and I make a championship and selecting my tracks, and I pretty much can edit the drivers' names, their countries, and everything, and make a custom championship. Another one that I absolutely love is Project Cars 2. That game
Mm-hmm.
is gorgeous.
Absolutely.
That's fun. Yeah, and excuse me, I really want to get to iRacing. I know it's not a game; it's a simulator, but I just need to get a wheel and pedal set. But if only they weren't $120, it would help. but but no, I definitely would want to get into iRacing because I don't know what the subscription plan is now. Last I saw it was like 12, $13 a month or so, which honestly isn't that bad, but I could have been looking at like possibly like a sale deal or something like that. But you do have to buy the tracks or different tracks and cars, which are
Yeah.
like $12 each.
Yeah, I don't know about, for me personally, I don't know about iRacing, but another thing, let me ask you about this. Keeping on talking about racing games, what's y'all's wish list for the upcoming F1 game, F1 2023?
Just let it not be as broken as F122 was.
I enjoyed F122.
I thought it was fun. I've
I
I've
thought
been
it.
I've been playing it recently actually with like my steering wheel and everything, and I get very immersed in those type of games, and as long as you can kind of immerse me in what I'm doing, it's very helpful. F1 does exactly that, where when I'm playing, I feel totally immersed in what I'm playing. I feel like I'm a part of it. You know, I like those. The F1 games have always been some of my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what F1 game was great? F1 2010, the very first one for consoles with Codemasters.
I played
Yeah,
2011 back in the day. I bought that at a garage sale, and I played F1 2011 all the time. So not 2010, but close.
Right. But one of my big things, my wish list is my biggest thing is red flags in an F1 game,
oh, that'd
because
be
they've
cool.
been
They
such
they
a big
used
part of
to.
the sport. Yeah. And it only really happened when the track was completely blocked. But I think that needs to be a thing again, because I believe that would kind of fix some of the bugs in the racing. And two, it's red flags are just major part of the sport now.
Yeah, and we talked about it last week. We had 3 red flags at the Australian Grand Prix, and they really have become a bigger part of the sport now.
And I don't know, you remember Jeff from the older F1 games, your
Yes.
race engineer? There was some somebody was digging around in the files and rooting around and all, and they found some voice lines, unused cut voice lines of Jeff telling you about there's a red flag on the track. And you could
Interesting.
find those on YouTube.
Yeah, I've probably watched a couple of them, but that's actually very interesting. Um, so one major thing that has been in development with motorsports games has been the IndyCar video game
Mm.
project. Unfortunately, it came out, I don't know how long it was, about a month ago or so, that was going to be delayed till 2024. Tragic. Just
I was looking forward to that.
So
yes,
was I.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to that because we haven't had an IndyCar game in a long time,
Yeah.
at least 15 years.
Project Cars was, I believe, the last even remotely that had IndyCar in it, basically, and it had the drivers in it if you played the career mode.
Yeah,
And
I remember
but
Forza having IndyCar in it.
but I don't know if that really counts or not.
Yeah, you would have to buy the DLC for it though. It was like the Motorsports DLC.
And a few months ago, Real Radman on his YouTube channel, he actually did a video talking about it, and the game looks pretty bare bones. Like, according to him, I need to watch the video again, but it looks like the features are going to be a race now mode and maybe a season mode. And that's it.
That's gross.
Yeah, that's not good.
Like, no career mode, nothing like that. Just, you know, season mode and race now, which I don't even know if you could really consider them features because that's in every racing game ever.
Yeah, it's one of those things that has to be in a racing game.
Yeah.
And if this is true, I just don't even know what to say about motorsports games at this rate because they've been nothing but I don't even know what the right words are.
I'm still
Just
waiting on my next gen update for NASCAR Heat 5. That ain't coming.
oh yeah, there you go.
So
Get the mod
Can
for
you
it.
mod NASCAR Heat?
yeah, you can mod
Yeah.
NASCAR Heat 5 on PC. They were working on actually, they announced it like back in October that they were going to release a like 2022 DLC with the next gen cars in NASCAR Heat 5. And I have, I love the online community and everything. I was all for that because I love playing that game, especially with my steering wheel. I was like, give me the next gen cars. And then time just went by and it went by and it went by. And Gary Owen kept, posting updates and nothing was happening. And then eventually now it's not happening at all. So
Did they actually
Unreal.
cancel it?
supposedly that was one of the guys had said on Twitter that it's been shoved aside.
That's too bad.
Crazy.
Could have revived that game. I mean, it's not that it's not dead. It's still got a solid player base, but it definitely would have, kept that game. It would have kept one of their good games relevant for a lot longer.
And I remember they actually cut the price down on NASCAR Ignition like 2 months after it came out because it was so poorly rated.
Yeah, that game, I remember the release of that. I was so excited and so disappointed.
Overall, the state of motorsports video games right now, not great. I mean, aside from Assetto Corsa and Project Cars, not great. Just I hope that something positive comes out in the next couple of years, but I don't have high hopes at all.
F1 games have been really good in the last
They've been solid.
Years.
And I will say on the topic of like the NASCAR stuff too, NASCAR did have NASCAR Rivals come out last year, and I did actually very much enjoy that game. I have it for my Nintendo Switch. I got to do some cool stuff with it at Phoenix during the championship race, but I do like that game. I love that it's portable. It's basically like NASCAR Heat 5 with updated rosters with Gen 6 cars, the new tracks. So I do enjoy NASCAR Rivals for what it is. So I will say that because I know Ignition is really bad, but technically Rivals came out after Ignition and is not bad for the Switch game that it is. I have a lot of fun with it.
I'll have to look into Rivals because I've got NASCAR Heat Plus or whatever it is for the Switch, and I thought it was pretty good.
The best part about Rivals is they took some of the best parts about Ignition and then they put that into the NASCAR Heat formula. So you get that same paint booth that NASCAR Ignition had, where you can put it all over the car and you have like entire freedom to do exactly whatever you want with the car. You get that again in the NASCAR Rivals game, despite it being in the NASCAR Heat engine. So I think that's really cool. I spent like 2 hours on the plane ride to Italy when I went on vacation a few weeks ago, just creating some fun paint schemes for myself because it's
Nice.
it's a lot of fun.
That flex
Well-
though.
Well, I will definitely have to look into Rivals for my Switch
Another
after we
good
get done with
one
this.
with a good paint booth is NASCAR 15, I believe it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, anything from 11 to 15 had an awesome paint booth.
The problem with 15 though is it was always so buggy on my end.
Yep.
The spotter would quit working on me, which
Yep.
you really need the spotter, especially in Daytona.
I had a lot of those. Like I feel like they had NASCAR 2011, which had some bugs, but was a good game. NASCAR Inside Line was a really good game, and then it felt like NASCAR 14 and NASCAR 15 each had their fair share of bugs. Like I know I never got 15. I only ended up sticking with 14, maybe because it had Tony Stewart on the cover. I don't know, but the 14 had its issues where like I know there were times I'd be doing a race and it'd be like, I like doing the 67 lap races at Kansas or something like that. Just those are good races to sit down, race for 45 minutes. And I'd get to like lap 50, do pit stops or whatever. And somewhere along the line, the game would just absolutely break. And I would be like 6 laps down along with like 30 other drivers. And there'd be 12 drivers. Like it would just break. It was a really weird. It's the reason I stopped playing that game in general. So if those games had cleaned up their bugs, they could have been even better than NASCAR Inside Line, I would say.
I spent so much time on the forums too looking for fixes, and I never found any.
Yeah. It's a shame because 14, 15, and even Heat could have been a really good game. But Heat was not. It was so broken.
Well, and to your point about, liking Inside Line, Jacob, it just dawned on me that was when I got into league racing back in the day. So I used to do some consistent league races on like Friday, Saturday, and I'd be up till 1 a.m, just sitting there doing races with manual cautions, all that fun stuff. I miss those days. Those were fun, but I don't have as much time in my adult years anymore.
So now that we've talked about video games for, I don't know, like the last 30 minutes or so, let's go on to 2 different things, and then we will wrap up this episode. So NASCAR is doing something very similar to their 50th anniversary year. This is the 75th anniversary year where they are doing basically a top 75 drivers of NASCAR history. So what we are going to do, actually before I reveal what we're going to try to do for the list, yesterday it was revealed that Tony Stewart was the first member of the list. So congrats to Smoke.
Woo, my boy. That's right.
And also congrats to Casey Kane on making the top 75 list, which I did not see coming. As much as I like Casey Kane, I did not see that coming at all. So huge congrats to Casey Kane and Tony Stewart being the first 2 members of the NASCAR 75 list. So what they are doing, if I remember this correctly, they are revealing 25 drivers in the next 5 weeks leading up to Darlington, and those drivers will be present for the Darlington throwback race. Which, speaking of Darlington, we should be seeing some Darlington throwback paint schemes soon, which is always a good time.
Exactly.
It's weird though. Some of those paint schemes, to me, aren't retro, and they're just coming back, and then they're considered retro with everybody else.
So what we're going to do for the next couple weeks leading up to Darlington, we are going to predict 2 drivers for the weeks leading up to Darlington. So they can be either obvious or not too obvious. They can be pretty wild. I've got two drivers in mind. So I'm gonna start out. So my two drivers right now. I'm gonna say Ernie Irvan, and this is gonna sound crazy, but bold prediction. I'm gonna go with Carl Edwards.
No, Edwards is in. If Kane is in there, Edwards is in there. I think Edwards has to be up there.
Okay.
Also, I think we were talking about how they were Casey Kane got nominated or got in before Jimmy Johnson, which in one way seems weird, but I think they have to be fully retired, don't they?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Gordon was still racing when he was put on the 98 list, and if you don't fully retire, if you wait until they're fully retired, you lose out on some of those guys that should be on there, like Kyle Busch, like Brad Keselowski, some of those guys.
Then how is he on there before Jimmy Johnson?
They're just having fun. Like we said earlier, there's no particular order, so they might just be releasing them just to have fun and probably to upset people like you, Chris.
Wait,
that was bad timing on that one. For those of you who are listening on Spotify, I almost spit out my water right there.
I mean, he's not wrong.
They knew what they were doing when they put Casey Kane
yeah.
before those guys. They knew exactly what they're doing. They're like, let's fire up the Twitter page for today.
Let's fire up the podcast.
And it works. Chris, who are your two drivers who you think are going to get in?
Now, is it this week or just in general?
I was kind of thinking, just in general.
I was thinking if it's just this week, that would be hard.
Yeah,
there's no pattern to how they're releasing, like who gets released when.
A rule before I say mine. They can't be the obvious ones like Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going with when I said Ernie and Edwards.
What about Matt Kenseth and Bobby Labonte? Is Bobby Labonte in there?
No, he's not. Terry is. Bobby's not.
Okay, so
Bobby Labonte should be.
Bobby Labonte and Matt Kenseth, I think.
Okay. I think for me, my two picks are going to probably be, I mentioned him earlier. I'm going to say Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick. Those are going to be my two picks to go in.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick, definitely.
Harvick's kind of a definite. I think Keselowski because he's one of the best. I think he's one of the best on restrictor plates that we've seen in a long time, and I think he's going to continue to improve with this new team. But he kept the two relevant after. I would say he kept it more relevant than Kurt Busch did after Rusty Wallace. So he's definitely going to be on that 25 list for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So good picks, I'd say, and it's going to be fun the next couple of weeks seeing who get in and have Chris meltdown over who got in before who, and it's going to be interesting.
Picks?
I said Ernie and Ernie Irvan and Carl Edwards.
That's right.
So
I'll cheat and I'll say a third one, which I don't know if he will or not, and that's kind of debatable, which is understandable. But Mario Andretti.
Maybe
you could go either way with that one.
Yeah, it'll be heads or tails with that one because I really can't. I really don't know with Mario. He's a fantastic driver, but I'm not sure. So before we wrap up, let's really quickly talk Martinsville, which I'm actually excited for because of the new aero package. I think it's gonna be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk Long Beach. So Martinsville. Who do we think is going to win? We get one that is our one pick. That is our main pick, and second is our long shot.
Well, my main pick for this week, I'm going to go with Alex Bowman. That's going to be my main pick this week. He's had some solid weeks. We've seen him be solid at Martinsville. I think Bowman is the man. And my dark horse pick, I'm only considering it to be a dark horse because the man has 2 top 10s all year, but Martin Truex Jr. is kind of like my dark horse pick. But if we're actually picking like a real dark horse, right, I think that it could be a good weekend for Austin Cindric in the 2. I think he's going to have a good weekend.
I'm basing
Solid.
this purely on a hunch, but a 48. And I'm thinking also the 20. I think Christopher Bell has momentum. I really do. Going in there, and I think I just have a hunch about the 48.
Okay.
Could definitely see him in victory lane. Jacob,
So,
who we got? Who you got?
Who I got? Yeah, this is tough. I am going to go with William Byron as my main pick.
Yeah.
And dark horse, it's a good one.
It gets real difficult when you can't pick HMS drivers anymore, huh?
Correct. You guys are going to be surprised by this one. This man is very good at Martinsville in his modified days. Ryan Preece.
Okay. Not games are over, so
even if I am the Larson fan who is still a little upset after yesterday, but that's enough of that.
Long Beach?
Long Beach. That's going to be a good time.
I love Long Beach.
Man, Long Beach is going to be fun. I can already see it.
Still want NASCAR to go to Long Beach, just see the mess.
We've been over this, Chris. We cannot do that.
It just can't happen. As much as I want it to happen, it can't.
It worked in Project Cars 2, and it should work in real life.
I'm going to try that out as soon as we're done with this. I'm going into Project Cars 2 with stock cars on it, and I'm going to see how that works.
It really did work pretty well.
Really?
Cars 2.
In your defense, too, I used to do it on NASCAR 2003. That was I would race there a lot, and it wasn't terrible. You would just have the random moments where somebody would stop turning and they would just run into a wall head on, and it's just like, oh, okay,
this is fine.
Yeah, that's great.
It happens.
Yeah, Long Beach is gonna be a good time. If we're gonna see, man, I really don't know who to pick for Long Beach because it can really be anyone. It's just so chaotic there.
I got my picks.
I've got my dark horse, but I don't know who would be my main pick. Okay, I think I got mine. All right, you can go ahead with your pick if you want to go ahead.
I was thinking Joseph Newgarden.
I like that pick.
Yeah.
He's my main one, and then my so-called dark horse, although I don't know if I'd really call him a dark horse at this point, Pato O'Ward.
Yeah, Pato could be good. So my 2 picks for Long Beach are Will Power and Alexander Rossi.
Okay.
I was thinking about Rossi.
For this week, for me, I'm going to pick Scott Dixon and Alex Palou. Those are my 2 picks.
Yeah,
I was
Dixon.
Also thinking about Palou too.
Dixon is. I don't want to say he's overdue for a win, but it's been a little bit since he won. Did he win Nashville last year? I think he did.
I believe so.
I don't remember if that was his last win or not, but I think he did win Nashville.
I know
So
who
it's
didn't win Nashville. Colton Herta.
yeah, let's not talk about that. That was pain. Poor Colton. So anyway, guys, that was a fun episode.
Absolutely.
We had a lot to talk about today. So whether you were listening on YouTube or on Spotify, but first, what time are the races? So on Sunday, the Cup Series is on FS1 at 3 p.m. And
Rip the night race.
Yeah, I'm so mad about that. But we do get an Xfinity night race on Saturday at 7:30 on FS1.
Yeah, call 811.com before you dig 250. That's going to be
correct.
Chris's face. Correct. I just had to share the name of the race. I had to.
Is that really the name of the race?
Yeah, yes. You have that, and then for the Cup, it's the NOCO 400, and then for the trucks, it's the Long John Silver's 200.
You know, it's kind of bad if the truck race has the most normal sponsor name.
I love that name, Long John Silver's, dude. It's great.
It's great.
Never eaten there before, never will.
I'm never going to eat there. If Long John,
fish. Yummy.
If Long John Silver never wants to sponsor us, I'm fine with that.
Make that Long John Silver's.
And Friday evening at 7:30 on FS1 is the truck race. And what time is Long Beach? It is Sunday afternoon. I do know that. I cannot
series,
find.
Also known as the Busch Series.
Correct.
Known as the Nationwide Series.
I was about to say that.
The Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach will be April 16th at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time.
Oh no! So we have the Cup Series and IndyCar at the same time. That's terrible.
Those are always the best. I think they're gonna they might overlap the next few a few times in the next month, because you're gonna have the Alabama Indy Grand Prix, the Children's of Alabama Indy Grand Prix on April 30th at 3 p.m. and then the GMR Grand Prix from Indianapolis, the road course. That's May 13th at 3:30. So I think they're going to overlap quite a bit the next
Children's
month.
Of Alabama?
Yeah, I was hoping I could figure out what track is that.
That's
that sounds more like Talladega.
No,
it's
Belle Isle Park.
Okay. I was hoping to find out, based off the name of the race. And
was that IndyCar?
Yes.
Oh. I thought it was NASCAR. I was thinking Children's of Alabama? Where could that be?
That's actually what's interesting is that is April 30th, and on the NASCAR schedule, where are we at that weekend? Are we in
we're at Talladega that weekend.
That's wow.
I think.
But that's what I was thinking.
If it's not that weekend, it's the week before.
Because what do we have? Let's see. So we have Martinsville. This is the Truck Series schedule. That would explain why I am confused. I'm like, what? We're skipping Talladega this year? What did that happen? So it's Martinsville, Dega, and then followed by we'll be at Dover that weekend, April 30th. We'll be at Dover, 2 p.m. Eastern Time start.
Love Dover. So we have went on long enough about this. So
it's my ranting.
I think it's all of ours. So great episode. Like I said, if you guys are watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, we appreciate you guys no matter what. So if you guys can give us a follow on our respective social media platforms, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JWBarker24, and check out my articles on Backsports page within the motorsports sections. Guys, where can we find you on social media and on Backsports page?
Check me out on Twitter, Mason Hollywood6, and then on Instagram, Mason.wood01. My Twitter does have a link in my bio that's going to take you to all of my different socials and also my page on Back Sports page. So if you want to read any of my articles or anything like that, I'm also our lead football editor. So if you want to read anything football related on there, feel free to check it out as well. Please support my football writers. They always appreciate it. And don't forget to make sure you're supporting your Back Sports page, Motorsports writers as well.
My Twitter is just a sports fan _ just let me words are hard. My Twitter
Words are very hard.
Just a _ sports fan. I gotta change that. And yeah, and be on the lookout, because I am also one of the hockey writers, and I will have an NHL playoff prediction coming up soon.
Yeah, because the playoffs are starting very soon.
I'm excited for it.
It should be fun. I don't watch hockey that much, but when I do, it's usually a good time. And guys, I don't want to say anything too much, but keep on the lookout for some of my stuff in the motorsports section, because I've got a couple of projects that I'm working on. So hope you guys.
Casey Kane, Untapped Potential coming out this week. Look out for it.
Woohoo!
Jimmy
Looking forward
Johnson,
to it.
Untapped Potential.
IndyCar.
Yeah, IndyCar. Got to be specific. Guys,
Hey, you can do it. We had a Kyler Murray baseball Untapped Potential. So if you want to do an IndyCar Jimmy Johnson Untapped
sick.
Potential, go for it.
yeah.
NASCAR
and-
Dale Earnhardt Untapped Potential.
Ouch. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify. My name is Jacob Barker. Almost messed up my own name. That's
I know the
fine.
feeling.
I listen. I usually forget it every time I wake up, so that's fine. I have been joined by Christopher Shoemaker today and Mason Wood. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. Yes, Josh Williams, love. we will catch you guys on the next episode of The Outside Line. Okay, have a good one, guys.
Yeah, I'll see you.
Bye-bye.